Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. On September 18, 1953, a woman named Fu Yufang lay on a sickbed, looking haggard. She was only 44 years old, but her life was nearing its end due to illness. Fu Yufang's husband, Lu Zhendong, a humble janitor, stood by her bedside. On her last day, Fu Yufang decided to reveal her secret to her husband. She said, "There's something I've never told you. My real name is Wen Xian, and I was once a concubine in the Qing Dynasty." Wen Xian remembered that a few years after entering the palace, she saw a deer kept in the imperial garden. This imprisoned deer struck a chord with Wen Xian, and she wrote these words upon returning: "This deer, confined in the garden, lacks freedom like a prisoner in jail, unable to leave without a pardon." To Wen Xian, she was no different from that deer. Becoming the last imperial concubine was a major turning point in Wen Xian's life. It wasn't part of her initial life plan. Orphaned early, she was raised by her mother and excelled academically, entering school at 8 years old. During the transition between old and new, had she not been selected as a concubine, her intelligence and courage might have led to a different life. But fate has a sense of irony. At 12, Wen Xian's uncle submitted her photo among candidates for the little Emperor Puyi's selection of an empress. Though the Qing government had fallen by then, the emperor's aura still attracted many. Puyi, uninterested in the selection, hastily circled Wen Xian's photo. Because of Puyi's casual gesture, Wen Xian entered the Forbidden City, alongside another chosen, Wanrong, who became the empress due to her prestigious background. Wen Xian, a day ahead of Wanrong, entered the palace gates. At that time, Puyi was not yet 16, and they were merely two clueless children. How could they act as husband and wife? Most of Wen Xian's time in the Forbidden City was dreary. After daily greetings, she returned to her palace, teaching palace maids or engaging in embroidery to pass time. Later, she started learning English with Puyi's tutors. It was a life neither good nor bad, devoid of much favor. Emperor, empress, or concubine, all were puppets in the golden cage of the Forbidden City. To live peacefully was already fortunate. For a long time, Puyi, Wanrong, and Wen Xian were isolated from the outside world in the Forbidden City. It wasn't until 2 years later that Feng Yuxiang expelled them. From then on, the emperor never returned to the court. Wen Xian was finally free from the Forbidden City, but she found herself still lacking freedom. It wasn't the palace that bound her but the superficial title of imperial concubine. With the new era, internal struggles continued within Puyi's small family. In these conflicts, Wen Xian was often the more aggrieved party. In Tianjin, tensions between the three escalated. Puyi grew indifferent, considering family ephemeral. Wanrong became increasingly hysterical, while Wen Xian felt exhausted. Facing this, Wen Xian made a bold decision: she sought a divorce. She wanted to leave the emperor. Soon, news of her divorce spread nationwide. On October 22, 1931, Wen Xian and Puyi signed a divorce agreement, making her the first imperial concubine to divorce an emperor, known as the Knife Concubine Revolution. It was a revolutionary act challenging imperial power, a move Wen Xian was proud of. After the divorce, Wen Xian faced numerous responsibilities. Her brother even publicly criticized her divorce in newspapers. Many speculated, suggesting extortion for alimony or extramarital affairs. They failed to see Wen Xian as an independent person. Wen Xian countered these speculations publicly, emphasizing adherence to the laws of the Republic of China. After leaving this letter, she faded into obscurity, no longer involved in old conflicts. Later, she led a quiet life, using her knowledge to become a teacher at a small school in Tianjin, hiding her true identity under the name Fu Yufang. Some remain nostalgic for the old era, but Wen Xian sought a new life. Though the last emperor continued to appear in the tumultuous era, Wen Xian was absent from these stories. In 1947, she met Liu Zhendong, an officer in the Nationalist Army, and they fell in love, marrying quickly. After the founding of the People's Republic of China, Liu Zhendong lost his position and worked as a janitor to make ends meet. Wen Xian remained optimistic, accepting her fate under the era's wheel. The only regret was time's unrelenting march. Wen Xian's health deteriorated, and in 1953, her life came to an end. Reflecting on her life, aside from the knife concubine revolution, most of her time was spent in anonymity. Still, she felt fortunate. She had broken free from the shackles fate imposed, found her path, and her story was not just about being the last royal concubine, but also about commendable struggles and emotions. This is History and Culture Channel. Like and subscribe are the biggest help and support for us. Thank you everyone. See you next time.